Performance tools, load testing tools. You probably hear a lot about these from like QA, for example. So a lot of QA automation engineers, a lot of QA people in general will use performance testing tools, load testing tools. Maybe like Apache JMeter is a really popular one. Vegeta is a cool open source one. There's a bunch of really cool tools out there to be able to test your application and ensure it's actually performing the way that you're expecting it to. Now, here's the thing. I feel like a lot of people in the DevOps and SRE space aren't doing this, and I don't fully understand why, because I think it's super crucial. Our job in the DevOps and SRE space is to make applications reliable. Well, one of our jobs, right? We have to make these applications reliable wherever they're running. And regardless of how many unit tests and integration tests we put in, regardless of how good the code is, regardless of how good the scaling is, you don't actually know until you know. So how do you know? Well, you test it. Now, are you going to sit there and manually test your application? And are you going to manually go and find 50 people to hit your application at the same time and see how it reacts? No, you don't have time for that. You're in DevOps and SRE and you're busy automating and putting out fires and working. So you need a tool, a performance or load testing tool to help you with this. So in this video, we're going to take a look at a tool that I personally like. It's a little bit expensive, to be honest. It's definitely not something good for personal use, but it is something good if you want to set up a trial and you want to just play around and test it out and understand load testing tools and performance testing tools. And it's a tool called LoadView. So let's go ahead and take a look at it and we'll get our environment up and running. All right, so we are here at the LoadView testing site. And as we can see, it's a cloud-based load testing in real browser. So the cool thing is you don't have to install anything. You don't have to, get a server up and running to run this tool. You don't have to run a million commands, nothing. It's actually pretty straightforward. So if we click start free trial, we can see that we can have the first 30 days for free. No credit card is required. Now, I have my trusty email account here that I like to use instead of signing up with my real email, because I don't check this email account. I only use it just for literally doing this. So I actually already have an account, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to log in with this account. All right, so as we can see, we're logged in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on new test. Now at this point, we can choose what type of test we want to do. So anything from like a REST web API, SOAP web API, HTTPS, and that's actually really cool. Concurrent users generating HTTP requests to a web server. Obviously awesome if you have a front-facing app. A web page if we want to be able to hit it repeatedly in Chrome or Edge. Concurrent users performing a series of scripted actions in Chrome or Edge. That's really cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on web page. All right, so now let's give this any web page you want. Now this could be an IP address with a port. This could be Kubernetes service running that's running a web front end. It could be anything you want. Let's keep it basic though. We're going to hit google.com. Let's see how good google.com does with our tests. We can choose a browser type. So we have Firefox, Chrome, Edge, iOS, Android, Windows Phone. I didn't realize those were still around. And BlackBerry. Those are actually still around too. Now we're just going to choose Chrome. And then what we can do is we can set our validation period. So for example, if we want 60 seconds for maximum allowed time before check considered an error, network throttling if we want to set that up. So slow, we can set up 3G, 4G. That's actually quite interesting. Ignore certificate errors, simulate return visitor if we want to. So a visitor that's coming back and the browser is already cached, or full page load. Now within here, we also have some content validation if we want to set up some regular expressions. We have some basic authentication. So like if you have an application that you got to like pass in the username and password, that works here. Download filter. And then any type of DNS options. So now let's go ahead and click on create device. All right, so as we can see, we have a test scenario here. We can call it anything we want. So we can say, google.com tests. We have what it's hitting. So the device is this URL, the browser view, the task name, the URL that we're trying to hit. And now as we can see, it's validating. So let's go ahead and wait for it to finish validating here. All right, so now let's go ahead and scroll down here. We have a load type, so load step curve. It's load with predetermined number of concurrent users, goal-based curve, and dynamic adjustable curve. Now, I feel like a lot of people use load step curve, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go with that. Now, we can actually see here that we can set up different types of users. So for example, start with, I don't know, 10 users, and then raise by maybe 2 users for every 2 minutes that the test runs. And then it holds out at 16 users for 5 minutes. So now here's what we're setting up. We're saying 16 peak virtual users, 7-minute test duration. We can set up an injector payload if we have one, any type of network proxy that we want to use. And then the load injector geo distribution. So for example, I'm running in AWS zones here for US East Virginia and US West 1 for California. So we'll go ahead and we'll click continue here. And now we have to go and we have to actually put in our name for the terms and conditions. I'll click agree. And now we can start the test and we can get an email notification if we want to, but we don't have to do that. So we'll click start test now. And let's actually wait for all of this to occur. So it's going to submit the test, initialize the test, start the load injectors, and then send the execution plan. And that took, I don't know, probably like 2 or 3 minutes to actually get going. And now we can see that our test is officially running. So we can see the sessions that are running, what succeeded, what failed, what's uncompleted. We can see the zones that it's actually running in. We can go to log and we can see any data if it is available. I'm assuming some data becomes available depending on the application, but like it's google.com, so we're not going to see much. And then we also have the task name and then the URL that we're trying to hit. Now what's really cool are these graphs. So we can see the execution plan and I can literally see like actual number of users, and we can see the number of users that are hitting the application right now. So 11 users. We can see the average response time, the number of sessions that are running with the users. We can see the number of sessions that are running here again, based on cumulative sessions, load injector, load, and we can see, you know, what environment it's actually running on. Now, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to stop this load. I'm going to say yes. And then we can actually have a download here. So I'm going to download this. And then the CSV is going to open. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move it over here to this screen. And then we can see the zone, the IP address, the ID, everything, where everything actually came from. And I just want to say, of course, this is a very basic scenario here, but it shows you how to get LoadView set up, and it shows you that it's pretty powerful. You can get a lot of information, and you can test your applications, pretty much anything with a web API. Oh, actually, let's go to log really quick. And as you can see here, we do have logs now available. And these logs show the zone, the step, what was actually done, etc. Like it literally says navigate to, and it does a whole bunch of these clicks and searches and all that stuff. So it's very, very cool. And you can get this log and, you know, you can take a look at the details, and then you can actually show this stuff to your boss, to your manager. You can say, okay, this is how the application is performing. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you again next time.